Previously on the Moorpark Reporter Sportcast.
Their stadium stinks. Dodger Dog overrated.
Ketchup's a vegetable. Ask Reagan.
We are going worldwide.
And now,
Hello and welcome to the second installment of the Moorpark Sportscast. Today we're coming at you Sunday, October 25th, right after the Dodgers victory. It is a good night tonight. My name is Danny Stepanovich, sports desk editor over at the Moorpark Reporter. I'm here with Kennedy Collier and Mitchell Ross, staff writers. We're going to get right into it. Today we got a lot to get into. We got the World Series, we got Bucks, and we got Steelers-Titans later. But we're going to start with Game 5, Kershaw's performance. He finally got it. He got through the World Series, Mitchell. Does this erase the past?
Danny, I'm glad you asked that question. For those of you who don't know, Kershaw actually passed Justin Verlander on the all-time strikeout list in postseason play. He now has 207. As far as Kershaw's game tonight, he didn't really have a slider, but he said in his post-game interview, tonight was a book of grinds. And he went out there and he grinded, struck out 6, only gave up 2 runs to Tampa. I don't know if it completely erases his postseason past, but Kershaw's 4-1 with a sub-3 ERA this postseason, and it's the first time ever he's won 2 games in a single postseason series. So Kershaw was dominant tonight for sure.
13 years. 13 years for him to finally have a decent postseason. The world's greatest pitcher of a generation. It takes him 13 seasons to have a decent playoff season. Finally, we're congratulating him for doing something he should have done 8 years ago. So, yeah, congrats, Dodger fans. You finally got something from the greatest pitcher in MLB history.
What was your biggest takeaway tonight, Mitchell?
Biggest takeaway for me tonight, Dave Roberts' good decision-making. His decision-making in the playoffs can be called questionable, and that's, as Kennedy would say, saying it politely. Roberts did well tonight. He went to Dustin May after pulling Kershaw in the 6th. He only threw 2 pitches but got 2 outs. Then followed up with Victor Gonzalez and Blake Trinan for the save. Kenley blew it last night, so I liked Roberts' decision-making tonight. That was the standout moment for me.
What about you, Kennedy? Did you see anything that you liked?
The thing I loved the most was we had someone steal home base. My notes are all over the place, but we had someone steal home. How often do we see it on the World Series outside of really bad Hollywood baseball movies where someone steals home? That was the most exciting part of the whole game. Of course, hindsight, he shouldn't have done it, but if he had done it and gone safe, he might have tied the game and we might be talking about a different series.
That's a good point you brought up. I thought this game was whoever came out strongest was going to win it. You know, after the crazy Game 4, the Dodgers, they tried to come out strong. They had a great first inning and second inning. I liked the move, stealing home. What inning was that? That was earlier in the game, correct?
That was in the bottom of the 4th, I believe. Margot, great baseball IQ right there. Kershaw only looks to set to third one time, and then he doesn't look back at the runner. And he's got a big, long stretch for his delivery. So heads-up play by Margot. He was almost safe. Would have been the first time a runner's been safe stealing home since 2002, Angels-Giants series.
I must admit that I predicted that if the Rays were going to, lead, that it was going to be a boring series. But this has been a very exciting World Series. We had a very exciting Game 4 with that crazy ending. Game 5 was solid. This whole series has been fantastic.
I think it's safe to say Game 4 was one of the greatest World Series games I've ever seen. What about you guys?
Tough to be on the losing end of it. Definitely a top 5 World Series game in recent memory. The Dodgers did have that Game 5 in 2017 against Houston where they lost on a walk-off, being the road team. Top 5 game for sure.
All right, so going into Game 6, we got Snell versus Gonsolin. Game 2, Gonsolin only pitched an inning. He didn't look too hot. Do you guys, Kennedy, do you think the Dodgers can tie this or finish this series up, or you think the Rays got this one?
To be selfish, I want to say the Rays win just so I get more baseball to get a Game 7. Who doesn't like Game 7? I think the heat is with the Dodgers right now. The momentum is with the Dodgers, and baseball's very much a game about momentum, and the Dodgers have it. So I think it's still going to be an exciting series, but I predicted the Dodgers winning in 6, and I'm going to still stick with it.
Tony Gonsolin, yeah, only went 1 2/3 last outing in Game 2, so he's well rested. I expect Gonsolin to go as far as Roberts lets him go. The bullpen should benefit from this day off tomorrow. Kelly, Gratterall, and Jansen did not pitch tonight. Roberts could play this one of two ways. He could let Gonsolin ride and see how he goes, see if he develops through a longer outing. I expect the Dodgers to just play the matchups. It's Game 6. Roberts should try not to overthink it. And, I agree with Kennedy. Dodgers in 6.
What's important to remember, if I can remember how to speak, is you don't have to burn through your bullpen. You didn't for Game 5, and you don't really have to risk anything for Game 6 because you do have a Game 7 if your starting, pitching isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. So a lot of leeway for the Dodgers.
I could also see, just real quick, Alex Wood hasn't gotten that many innings in this postseason. He does have the experience in the World Series. I could look to Gonsolin to open and Wood to carry the bulk innings of the game, especially against those Tampa Bay lefties. He should be able to neutralize both Kiermaier and Lau.
And, of course, you're going to have the bats of Bellinger, Mookie. Even if your pitching is subpar, chances are your hitting is going to be fantastic.
And that's been the key, scoring first. So, yeah, they got to score first.
But what about a Rosarina? Am I even pronouncing that name right for the Rays?
Reyna,
A Rosarina. I like him. I'm a fan of a Rosarina. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, yeah. How can you not like what this kid's doing? I mean, this is crazy. Like, I think he didn't join the team until late August. He was dealing with COVID, and then now he has 3 postseason records, I believe. He's got, like, home runs, hits, and stolen bases. That's just insane.
Yeah, he's a great story. He ate nothing but rice and beans and did 300 push-ups a day for an entire month, and it's clearly paying dividend for Rosarena.
Mitchell, how long would it take you to do 300 push-ups? Because I would give up after 15.
I would give up after 16. Probably an entire year, not going to lie.
I'll give myself 20, but I'm going to be sore the next morning. All right, so I just got to go on record real quick. I think I got to go Rays to Tuesday night. I mean, I didn't like what I saw at Gonsolin. Rays got Snell, and they didn't use Anderson tonight, so look for Anderson on the mound. Hopefully, if Castillo's good to go, I know he pitched 2 games in a row, but I think he'll be good to go Game 6. I didn't like what I saw out of Baez. He looked shaky. We'll see. Maybe they'll throw in May out there too, but I think Rosarina is going to ride it. Dodgers in 6, though, once Buehler gets on the mound. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, Walker Buehler, clearly he's going to be the star of the Dodgers for a long time. I don't know if the organization is quite ready to pass the torch from Kershaw to Buehler. Even Buehler himself says as long as the big guy's around, he's comfortable being number 2. Ideally, I would not like to see Buehler pitch a second time at all. He'll go in Game 7 against Morton if we get there, but we'll see. Buehler, he's been lights out this postseason. He actually has some postseason records. Through his first 11 or so starts, he has a sub-2 postseason ERA. That's up there with some of the greats like Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson.
All right, let's get into football. You guys good with that? All right. Let's get into the Bucs. The big news over the weekend. The most stacked receiving core in football added Antonio Brown. Kennedy, was this a smart move knowing how crazy Antonio Brown is? I mean, he could be the best receiver in the league still, but I mean, we all know his off the field issues. I mean, he's not even going to be allowed back in the league until next week. Is this a good move?
I think if you're a team that has no hope whatsoever of going into the playoffs, you don't even think of signing Antonio Brown. But if you are a team who absolutely is going to be going to the playoffs like Tampa Bay, and Seattle was in talks with Antonio Brown for a little bit, you absolutely pull the trigger. I hope that Antonio Brown has learned from his past mistakes, because if you're a football coach, you're going to sign Antonio Brown. And when you have a wide receiver core like Mike Evans, Godwin, you got Gronk, and you got Tom Brady, it's a no-brainer. So if you're the Tampa Bay Bucks, you either let Seattle take Antonio Brown, who's in the NFC with you, or you pull the trigger and say, hey, look, this guy is a generational talent. He's one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game. And you hope that, how much trouble can you get in Tampa Bay? I've never been to Tampa Bay, but it's not Miami. Come on, you gotta give the man a little break. So I don't blame Tampa at all.
I've got to disagree with you, Kennedy. Head coach Bruce Arians has gone on the record before the season started, when there was speculation of maybe bringing in Antonio Brown, saying that he doesn't want him there and that he's a troublemaker and he's no good for the team. Bruce Arians has a very loose feel to his locker room. He likes to keep it easy, cocktails after practice. I could see the Antonio Brown signing going one of two ways. One, he gives Brady, in addition to what he already has, the best weapons he's ever had in his career, going into year 1 million for him. Already, they have Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, and Ronald Jones, an offense that makes any defense shake with fear. I don't think AB is going to work out. I think he's got too many off-the-field issues. Brady's been one to, have a very strong focus on what you've got to do to win, and I think AB just has too many distractions. I still think the Bucs will make the playoffs. I don't know if Antonio Brown is going to have the same kind of impact as, say, Randy Moss had for Brady when he was with the Patriots back in, I think, 07, 08. They did go to the Super Bowl that year on an undefeated regular season. It's tough. I don't think AB is going to work out.
Another thing you have to realize, you're right with Bruce Arians. He said, absolutely not, I do not want Antonio Brown on my team at the preseason. This was 100% Tom Brady. This was a Tom Brady decision. Tom Brady said, get me this guy. I want Antonio Brown on my team. And, if Mitchell's right and it doesn't work out, what is it? It was $2.5 million for 1 year. That's peanuts in the NFL.
Mitchell, let me tell you why this deal will be worth it. Because the Tampa Bay Bucks are going to the 2021 Super Bowl in February. That's how big this deal was. You want to know who Tom Brady's favorite receiver was out of Godwin, Evans, and Gronk? It was Scotty Miller, a little white guy drafted in the 6th round. I know Evans and Godwin, they're all pros, but they both have been dealing with injuries. Godwin, he missed game 3 with a hamstring. Evans, he's been hurt. He hurt his ankle, his hamstring, and his leg. He's had a few games with 1 or 2 receptions. He's just not the same receiver. The Bucs needed Antonio Brown. They went and got him. Tom Brady knows how good he is. He played with him in New England, like Kennedy said. He played a game with him. This is just a huge move. Tampa Bay, Super Bowl bound. Book it.
Antonio Brown, well, he is joining, so not if. Even when Antonio Brown joins the Bucs, Brady's still going to throw to Scott Miller because he's been throwing to small white wide receivers for 20 years. So that's not going to stop. It's just going to go when they double team Scott Miller, AB's going to be open for an 80-yard touchdown.
We'll see. Tampa Bay definitely is stacked right now. I don't know that they get through Seattle. Russell Wilson is a magician. He pulls wins out of his hat. And this might be the best offense Seattle's had in a long time, having been known for the Legion of Boom and their defense for the longest time. And look, when the greatest quarterback on the face of the earth calls and says, I want this guy, you get that guy. You don't deny the GOAT anything. If it works out, I think Tampa Bay would be the only team ever to play in their home stadium for a Super Bowl. But this year has been crazy, so anything can happen.
Kennedy, like you said, they didn't only just sign AB, they stole him from the Seahawks, who we just saw on Sunday Night Football fell short to the Cardinals. I mean, they don't have the defense at all. I like Tampa Bay's defense. I think they're the favorite.
I actually think AB would have done better at Seattle. I think Russell Wilson is a better quarterback right now. Just like if you had to take Tom Brady or Russell Wilson for this season, chances are you're going to take Russell Wilson just because of his age, his mobility. He can scramble 20 yards and then throw it another 80. So while it's not a bad move for Antonio Brown, Seattle would have been great. Tampa's great because he's great.
It's going to be exciting to see. Earlier today, though, Titans-Steelers. That was the game of the morning to watch. The Titans fell to the Steelers 27-24 on a Gostkowski miss field goal that would have tied the game. Who knows what would have happened in overtime, but the Steelers came out strong. Mitchell, what did you see out of that game?
Couple things that I saw from that game. One, Tennessee's defense, though they did give up 27 points, also intercepted Roethlisberger thrice. That's 3 times. Which brings me to the next thing I saw about that game is that Pittsburgh did not let the turnovers get to them. They still pulled out the win. Granted, it was on a Gostkowski field goal miss, but anytime you're put in the situation late in the game and you can come out with the win, that's what matters. Another thing I saw from the game, people are overlooking Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I know he was dropped by Miami, and people didn't really know what his role was going to be with Tennessee, and then he led them to the playoffs last year. I think this was a game that was a measuring stick to see who's going to be the best in the AFC. I think one of these two teams makes it to the Super Bowl. If Danny's right and Tampa Bay makes it, it's going to be Tampa Bay versus either Pittsburgh or Tennessee.
Did I transport to a reality where the Kansas City Chiefs no longer exist in the AFC? Did Patrick Mahomes, did his head explode and he's no longer the quarterback for the camp? Yes, the Steelers and the Titans are good teams, but you still have Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs are going to be good for at least 5 more years if they get contracts right. I don't see anyone stopping the Chiefs except for the Raiders, but I mean, you don't want to go 16-0 in the NFL. It rarely works for a team except for the 72 Dolphins. That's the only team it ever worked for. So you're going to see weird losses here and there. Steelers are good. Titans are, surprisingly good. Mitchell made a good point that Tannehill was dropped from Miami. For 7 years, the Dolphins said, do we have a good quarterback with Ryan Tannehill? And what they should have been asking is, do we have a good team to put around Ryan Tannehill? And now that you see the Titans who have a good team, I mean, Tannehill, I don't think he's Hall of Fame, but he might get you to the AFC Championship, maybe. But no, the Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC and are favorites for a reason to go to the Super Bowl again.
Put a percentage chance the Steelers have of going all the way, Kennedy. What do you think?
I mean, I had them going to the championship, AFC Championship, and losing to the Chiefs. So, I mean, 20 if you want a percentage, but I just don't see anyone making a run like the Chiefs are. And it hurts me to say that as a Denver Broncos fan. I take no pride or joy in applauding the Chiefs on their 20-year dynasty, what looks like.
I will say one of the things that will work to Kansas City's disadvantage is the lack of fans in Arrowhead. They have one of the loudest stadiums and most rabid fan bases in the NFL. I think any team could go into Kansas City and sneak out a win. I mean, they lost to the Raiders, and the Raiders don't even know who they are yet. John Gruden doesn't know if he likes Derek Carr or not. And that's crazy. Carr took the Raiders to the playoffs, I think, with a 13-3 record a couple years ago. He's a good quarterback. If I'm going to put a percentage on it, I think it comes down to, one of these three teams, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Kansas City. I give Pittsburgh about a 30% chance. I think they finish with a better record than Kansas City. They don't have to play the Chargers as much. And I know the Chargers haven't been great, but Justin Herbert in his first start ever put up a show against the Chiefs. I know it was early in the season. AFC West and AFC North, very different divisions. I still like Pittsburgh over Kansas City. I think Pat Mahomes had his time last year. They'll be good for a while. This might be Big Ben's last run at a Super Bowl.
Another thing you have to notice is there's a change going on in the NFL at the quarterback position. No longer is it just the gunslinger who stays in the pocket, which is what Big Ben is. It's the mobile quarterback. It's the Kyler Murrays. It's the Russell Wilsons. It's the Patrick Mahomes. It's the Lamar Jacksons. They are mobile. Like, the quarterback position is changing. That's what you're going to see more and more of that. And Big Ben is like a skyscraper on two legs trying to run. I mean, it's impossible to tackle him, but he's going to get 2 yards where Lamar Jackson's going to get you 18. So I just don't see it happening with the Steelers. They'll make it deep in the playoffs because Big Ben is still a good quarterback, but the positions change so much that you really need mobility.
I'll say this. I think the Steelers are going to go as far as that defense goes. I mean, we saw them go 8-8 last year with third-string quarterbacks that shouldn't even be in the NFL. I mean, we'll see if this defense can stop Kansas City. I don't think so. Next week, though, Steelers versus the Ravens. That should be a fun game to watch. We'll see if the Steelers are legit then. You guys got a little prediction for next week? What do you guys think?
I'm taking Pittsburgh. I think in year 3, NFL defenses have started to figure out Lamar Jackson. He's not unique anymore. Like Kennedy said, there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks. I get it. Jackson, reigning MVP, but I'm taking Pittsburgh next week.
I'm still going to go with the Ravens, but I don't want to sit on the fence and say it could go either way, so I'll just pick the Ravens. I could easily see just Ben Roethlisberger throwing 400 yards that game because he can. I guess I'll make another prediction that no matter how bad the Dallas Cowboys are, they'll still lead first take every single day for that week.
America's team, right, Kennedy?
I mean, it's kind of fitting. America's kind of a joke. The Cowboys are a joke. It works.
All right, guys, that's enough for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on another episode the second episode of the Moorpark Sportscast. My name is Danny Stepanovich. You can find me at D Stepanovich. Mitchell, what about you?
Mitch Ross. Find me at Mitch Ross Report on Twitter, Insta, and Medium.
And you can find Kennedy's articles on themoorparkreporter.com. Shout out to our engineer, Dom. See you guys next Tuesday. This has been the Moorpark Sportscast, and we signing out.